Today, we're discussing a significant development in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. Hamas has announced that it has accepted a proposal to release one living American-Israeli hostage and the remains of four other dual-national hostages who died while in captivity. This announcement was made on Friday, with no specific timeline provided for when these releases will occur. To give you some context, Eden Alexander, the American-Israeli soldier mentioned in the reports, was abducted from his military base during an attack by Hamas on October 7, 2023. Current discussions surrounding this hostage situation are part of broader negotiations aimed at extending a ceasefire that had been previously established between Israel and Hamas. Reported by Associated Press journalists Apij and Julia Frankel. Talks continue in Doha regarding this next stage of the ceasefire, vital as it highlights ongoing attempts to broker peace in a region that has seen violence escalate dramatically. This relevant, hostage situations and conflicts can be extremely sensitive and polarizing issues. A release of hostages often serves as a symbolic gesture, intended to foster goodwill among negotiating parties. Also impacts public sentiment both domestically within Israel and abroad, particularly among communities directly affected by such conflicts. Different sources have weighed in on this development. According to Associated Press reports, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office expressed skepticism regarding Hamas' intentions, accusing them of manipulating the situation to gain leverage during negotiations. They noted that while they were open to discussions about extending the ceasefire through prisoner exchanges, Hamas's refusal to budge from its positions could complicate matters further. Proposed negotiations come after a previous phase of the ceasefire allowed for the return of 25 living hostages and remains of 8 others in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, a deal indicating just how complex and intricate these negotiations can become. The impact of this latest announcement, if successful, could pave the way for further dialogue between Israel and Hamas over more difficult issues, such as the release of remaining hostages and potential withdrawal agreements for Israeli forces. However, there is also apprehension if either side perceives bad faith or manipulation, particularly regarding conditions on aid access or security measures. It could derail any progress made thus far. Historically speaking, hostage situations have played critical roles in conflicts around the world, from high-profile cases like Iran's seizure of U.S. embassy staff back in 1979 to modern-day kidnappings linked to various militant groups across regions. In many instances, these events often lead not only to immediate tactical responses, but also longer-term political ramifications that shape national policies moving forward. And thinking about broader implications here, this incident underscores not only humanitarian concerns, but also strategic calculations being made by both sides involved. Hamas aiming for leverage amidst dire circumstances affecting Gaza's population due to blockades and restrictions. Meanwhile, Israel needs to balance national security interests with international diplomatic pressures, advocating for human rights considerations. In conclusion, while we see some movement toward negotiation, reflected through Hamas's acceptance of proposals concerning hostages and ceasefires, there's still much uncertainty ahead given conflicting narratives from involved parties. How both sides navigate these waters will likely determine whether future discussions yield meaningful progress toward lasting peace or devolve back into cycles of mistrust and violence we've seen so often throughout history. Thank you for tuning into News Explained. Please let us know your thoughts below.